Okay, our next steps are to apply the interfacing. We're going to work with the collar. So I've got one piece and I have the interfacing. I'm at the ironing board where I've got the fusible woven. Okay, so woven but fusible. I like that because sometimes I can stitch around it. So they're just telling you to follow the instructions on the interfacing. So I am turning off the steam because I don't want it to be steamed, and I'm going to, and as you see, some of my interfacing is a little short, but that's okay because I'm actually going to stitch and stitch, and that gets to be trimmed off anyway. So I am going to apply some heat. I normally start at the center and kind of work my way out. Okay, so right now I know it's on silk, but I set it that way so it doesn't apply the steam. Okay, so all I'm doing is fusing this interfacing to the collar piece. Okay, then I will come back and see, this one is a little, making sure I get out the little bumps out of it. Okay, all right. So, and sometimes I put something underneath so it doesn't stick to my ironing board cover. All right, so that's done. And while I'm here, I'm going to take the welt, which call for interfacing as well, and I'm just going to apply the interfacing to it while my iron is set for, no steam, right? So I'm just going to apply this here, make sure it's kind of centered. I've got my markings on this, on the interfacing. So I'm just going to apply interfacing here and press it. All right? Okay, okay everyone, ready. Here we go. I have since applying the interfacing, which is on the opposite side right here. Since applying the interfacing, then I have taken the other collar piece and I have pinned it, matching the edges and the clip that we had. There was one clip, I think, and that's been matched, and we are ready to sew. I will be stitching from the top, then coming to the corner, pivoting, which means I'm leaving the needle in as I turn, still making it 5/8 of an inch and stitching across, all the way across the top of the collar. Same thing here, pivoting, leaving the needle in, and turning and stitching off, back stitching. And then we'll come back and trim it all and apply it like they have here. After we trim it, press it, we will top stitch it here, okay? And then we will baste it on the jacket, on the coat, all right? Okay, I'm at the machine and I have already stitched part of the side part of the collar. I wanted to be sure I show you this. So as I approach the pivoting or the edge of the collar, like I said, I want to pivot. So I will leave the needle in. I can lift this, and you see, look at this. I am way over 5/8 of an inch. So basically, it gives you the opportunity to just take up where you left off. So I'm going to stitch a few more, right? Then stitch another one, leave it down. Then I'm going to lift it, turn it, and you see right now it's sitting at 5/8 of an inch right there. Whereas before it was all the way on the other side. So now I'm going to take the pin out and I will, looks like I need to go down maybe one more stitch. Okay, now turn, okay, and leaving the needle in, start stitching here. 5/8 of an inch. Okay, so I'll show you what that looks like on the back end of that. Okay, see? It looks like a little, just a little pivot right there. Okay? And I'm going to do the same thing all the way down. And you see how it's buckling a little bit. Okay? I want to ease that out. So I am going to take my needle, my pin out, continue stitching 5/8 of an inch. And you see how it's going to end up with a little tuck if I don't ease that in. So what I normally do is I will go back and kind of make sure I'm easing this in right here so that we don't have a tuck in it. So I'm just applying it with my finger, applying a little bit of pressure so that I don't have a full tuck like right here. See how that's going to end up with a tuck? I am distributing that ease throughout the collar. All right, so we will have some, hard to say, looks like gathers, but the seam itself, you know, as you're stitching the seam, you will not have any gathers or a tuck. All right, so we'll see what it looks like when we are done. All right. Oh, finger in the way. Okay, I'm reaching the end of the collar. I'm going to do the same thing. See, I stitch down. I'm going to lift it up. I have a knee lift right here. And then I turn it. And see, it's right there on the 5/8 of an inch marker. See, 5/8 of an inch. And if I feel like it, that is not pointed enough, I will do one more stitch, lift, turn, and it's 5/8 of an inch. So then I'm just going to stitch it the rest of the way down. Now I'm going to show you something in just a second. Take this pin out, where I actually ended up with a little tuck in my collar as I was stitching it. So I'm going to take that pin out. I am going to back stitch this. Then I'm going to tell it that I'm done, so I can lift it, and it will cut it out at once, I think. No, it didn't. I gotta learn my machine. Okay, now it cuts. So let me show you this. See how the rest of them in this area, it's eased in. So it does, it'll have, when you turn it, you will have a little bit of, I'll show you what it looks like. You'll have a little bit of overlay, basically. But here, see, I have a tuck. So if I turn this over, it really won't show a lot because of this print. See, it won't show, but, which is a good thing because it's in this print. But see, here's the tuck right here. Right there. See, and then you can actually work it out. So I may come back and take it out a little bit to straighten it out. But then if you notice when I turn it on the right side, you cannot, you really don't see it. So, but just going forward, if you're working with, see, there it is. I can now found it right there. See, I see it. So I'm going to take that out and stitch it, ease it in a little bit more. Okay, so I'm just going to take my little snippers, clip from here to about here, and then I'll work it in. All right. Okay, I have taken out the the seam stitching here where that little tuck was. And because this fabric has some spandex in it, I think I'm just going to stretch this so that it does not have a tuck. So I'm going to let down my foot, press the foot. I'm going to start the stitching right in line with the other one right there. And then once I start it, we'll back stitch. Okay, and I'm just going to apply a little bit of stretching there so we don't have that tuck. Okay, just apply a little bit of pull, just a little bit of pull, because of the fabric the spandex in it. And see how it's easing out, hopefully. I can still see a little bit of a tuck. I don't want, that's forming. So I'm gonna stretch it a little bit more. I don't want to stretch it to the point where I break my needle, right? Okay, so I have done it. So I'm gonna stop this. Okay, let me push this down again. Clear. Okay, now I think I got it. So if I press the scissors, it will back stitch and tip. All right, and lift it up. So as you see it has some it doesn't have the tuck. It has some ease in it, but not a tuck. So all I have to do is clip this, and then I will trim the corners, press it, and turn it over. So now you can see the difference in what we had before. There's no tuck. Okay, low battery. I've got to get my cord. So as you see, there we are. No tuck right there. The tuck is gone. Okay, we'll turn it over and go through, continue the rest of the process. All right. Okay, everyone, I'm back with the continuation of our project. I have, as I promised, I wanted to get that that tuck out of the collar. So now you see it's just easement, okay, rather than a tuck. So now all I'm going to do is I'm going to trim the corners, trim, and then trim some of this bulk off of the collar all the way around. Just going to trim it and then cut the corner like that at an angle so you get more bulk when you turn it. And while I was working on getting the interfacing on the collar, I also applied the interfacing. To the welt, and I stitched out. You know, here basically all I did is I applied the interfacing while, like I said, the iron was on non-steam. And you see I didn't have enough to cover that entire seam, which is okay because I'm going to trim that anyway, and then this is going to be part of the seam allowance. So I have taken one of them, stitched it down on each side 5/8 of an inch. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to trim here, and then I'm going to press it. Now another tool that I use is for pressing the collar will be what I call a point presser. Now I've had this for a very long time, and I don't even know if they look the same anymore. But what it's good at is taking, once this is trimmed, I would take the collar, put it on there to get a good point, press the seam open that I'm going to trim down, and it gives a really good point here called a point presser. And you just press it in. You're pretty much just shaping your garment as you go along. So I will come back to you when I am there. But these are things that I've gotten along the way. And actually, I pick up different tools that I need for sewing when Joann's or Hancock no longer exists, I don't think. But when the different locations, primarily Joann's, when they have a coupon for their notions or 50% off of a regular price item, that is when I get items like this, items like the seam roll or the ham. I get those items when they are on sale. All right, so you don't have to have it all at once. There's some things you can some people make their own seam rolls. I've just accumulated this over the years, and they're good to have for pressing and shaping your garment. So another pressing item, point presser. And this is a clapper on the other end. Like if you're really working with a heavy weight item, like wool or something, you know, when you press it, basically you're applying pressure while the heat is in. Let's say a wool item, you've got several layers and you want to make them, you want to flatten them. So this to me is a difference in what helps make your garment look like it's ready to wear, and people can't tell if you've made it or if you purchased it. So we'll continue on. Okay, so I have trimmed this off, and you see how much is left, so it doesn't have that bulk. See right there, eliminated a lot of bulk. And then see, if I left it on, I'd have this, and if I folded this, so it gets a little bulky when you turn it. So I'm going to trim this down as well, and then I'll be able to come back and press these seams open and do a little top stitching on the outside. So all I'm doing right here is trimming, okay? Just trimming them down, trimming out some of that 5/8 of an inch seam. Okay, all right, see you in a minute. Okay, now that I've trimmed them, all I'm doing at this point is taking, here's the point presser. I'm taking one end of the collar and I am placing it on the point presser, you know, the side that meets the point, right? So I pull it to fit, see right here, and then press this open. See, right here. Then I'm taking the iron, apply the seam, hold it there, press it open. Okay, so you see there what that looks like? Okay, and then I took the other, once I press that in, I'm going to do the same thing, the other end. So take it, open up the collar, place it on the point presser like this, pull it up till it meets. See, I normally just kind of finger press it and then come back and press it, apply some steam. Okay, ooh, sorry about that. Then once that's done, then I can actually take the longer piece and see, open this like that, right? And then press that open, and you see the point is right there. All I'm doing is applying some seam. See? All the way down. Okay? And okay, this is what we have. So I'm going to complete that, and then I'll turn it over, and you'll see what it looks like. Okay? Looking good, shaping up really well. Okay, I also will probably use the port presser for the welt, but I wanted to show you, just in case you didn't have this tool, that you can still open it up like this and press it. I could have done the same thing with the collar, was to open it up and press it open just like that. instead of using a point presser. So, but now I've got a point turner. I know all these different points, but it comes in really handy when you are, you know, making a turn. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in between right here at this point and turn it. So hold on a second, I'm showing you. You'll see right here. I'm going to turn this like that and to the right side. Then I'm going to take my point turner, stick it in between here, and then press out the point. Yeah, not too hard because you don't want to punch a hole in it. All right, so gently. So on the gentle side, all I'm doing is just pulling or pressing the point out, right? Okay, still feels like it's a little bulky. I might trim it down, turn it back over on the other side and trim it. But it's coming out pretty good. So you just don't press it so hard that you are punching a hole in it. Okay, so I'm going to do both sides. Then I will press it again, turn it, base it across the opening, and then I'll top stitch it. So see, both of these will be turned. Let me put this out for a second. Okay, so turn it, press out the point, and then I'll press it. Okay, looking good. Okay, now that I have turned it and pushed it, you see the points? Press them out. Now I'm just going to turn and make sure that the seam is not showing on the outside and apply some heat. I also may, you know, if it feels like it's not turning easily, you come back and you may want to apply a little bit more heat inside. Then it'll turn over really easy, like that, see? And this is the interface side. That's usually to the back. And see, I'm just going to press it to make sure that this seam is on the back side. Alright, so I'm going to press this down, baste it across here, and then I'll attach it to the coat. Alright, same thing with this welt. I'm doing the same thing, pressing it open. I can put it on the point presser like this, press open the seam, or I can press it open without the point presser like I showed you earlier on the other side. Right? See how that one is? And I'll be able to turn it over, and then baste it down. I'll show you when I finish. Okay, hold on. Okay, now I have turned the collar over, and I am top stitching it. See, I have gone all around using the foot presser as a guide. So it's like right on the edge of the foot presser as a guide, and I actually changed the stitching so it'll be a little bit longer for top stitching. I didn't change the thread. I'm just going to top stitch it. So as I go, I'm using this foot as a guide on the edge of the fabric so that I can top stitch. Relatively slow because I don't want to have to come back and check this one because this is on the outside. When I get to the edge where I think I'm still using it as a guide, all right, I'm going to lift it up, turn it, leave the needle in, right? See, leaving the needle in down in the fabric, turn it where it's right there on the edge, put the foot back down, and then I am going to stitch. Using the presser foot as my guide to top stitch. that's done. I don't have to back stitch that because I am going to, it's going to be attached to the back of the jacket. Attached on the jacket. Okay, so that's done. Now I have the welts that need to be done. I've already turned them. I'm just going to baste here across. And then I'm going to do a little top stitching on it as well. Where I'm going to stop 5/8 of an inch. Start here because they're going to use the other 5/8 of an inch to attach it to the jacket. So I'm going to top stitch using this as a guide, the same length, starting about 5/8 of an inch. So there, turn 5/8 of an inch, and then top stitch that, and then I will apply it to the garment. All right.